Hello Panda Warriors and welcome to a game for the Stanley Parables. This game is new to this channel, however it's not new to me. I've played it before and I've seen other people play kind of through it before as well. And I have enjoyed the game a lot, and so I thought maybe this time I would take you guys on this little adventure. I haven't played it in a while, so I thought it was about time, and that, you know, it'd be nice to take you guys along as well. So, let's get started. Begin game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright, so if you guys haven't gathered from the story already, we are playing this man named Stanley, and Stanley works at a company where he presses buttons all day. One day he shows up and no one's there to give him orders, so we're now going to control Stanley and go on an adventure in order to find our co-workers and see where they might have gone to. So, let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Interesting.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Now, I enjoy this game quite a bit, and I've played it before, like I've said before, and I really enjoy the narration. It's kind of witty. You'll see that later on if you haven't heard or played this game already. The narration is very witty, and I just kind of enjoy that. And it just looks kind of cool. Like it has you know you're in the person's eyes. I just really enjoy that aspect of it.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Now, I'm not entirely sure which way I should go. I mean, it says go on the door on the left, so the obvious choice would be go on the door on the left, but I also tend to be a rebel when it comes to these things, so I'll go to the one on the left. On the left, sorry, the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yes, I do enjoy admiring study. I do admire... sorry, guys. I do enjoy admiring lounges.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
This is a nice room. It's very blue. I enjoy that. I like the color blue.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Most definitely is. I mean, look at this picture. It speaks to me. It tells me...
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
are you telling me that I'm the reason everyone left? Alright, alright. We'll skedaddle, I suppose.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
I think the game is trying to send me a message, you guys. I should probably head out, find my coworkers.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
But... Yeah, alright, we'll go back.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
There's a button, and I kind of want to push the button. No, okay, we'll go this way. I kind of steered off the path and kind of blazed my own trail for a while.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Interesting. Boss's office. I'm not sure if that's where I would want to check. A broom closet. Wowie!
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Close the door on me. Just knock it off.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
That's definitely the most beautiful broom closet I've ever seen. Alright, we'll head out. Alright. To the boss's office.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I'm not sure if I would want to head to my boss's office if this is happening. If this is happening, to be honest, I'd probably just get out of there. But we'll follow your rules, game. We'll follow the narrator.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
No
Shocked,
human life.
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
What dark secret?
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
I'm completely oblivious to the keypad behind my boss's desk. Oh my gosh, there's a keypad there. How'd that get there? I wonder what the password is.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Of all these numbers, I wonder which one it is. We'll go with the 2. And 8, 4,
2, 8. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
This doesn't seem very safe. Alright. Here we go. See, that's what I mean by like witty humor, or witty dialogue. I just really enjoy that part of it. Oh, let's start. We're going this way.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh, how foreshadowing.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I would, sir, but that sounds extremely dangerous, and this says escape. So you understand my concern when it comes to entering a building that says Mind Control Facility instead of going to a place that says escape. However, in the spirit of following the directions in the narrator, we'll go through the mind control facility. Look, a large button. What happens if I press it?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I don't think I do. Alright, let's go.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I wonder if you look close enough. If there's like, if you could see someone. I don't think so. I'm not gonna take my time looking for someone, but... Oh, okay. Bye-bye, screens.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Interesting question.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable.
Never.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Dramatic, aren't we? Nope, where am I? Nope, there you are.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ah. This machine must not control people's minds. We must turn it... What happens if we turn it on? Okay, we're turning it off. Nope. And now... I can walk, I can move, but I'm not sure where I'm
Blackness,
going.
and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. and Stanley was happy.
Then from there, we're taken back to here. That's probably one of my favorite endings. I'm not sure if it's like, it's the true ending or the happy ending or something like that, but it's definitely one of my favorite endings when it comes to this game. I think I have time to do one more. I'm really kind of enjoying this. Like, I've played this before, like I've said, but I enjoy this game, and the narration, although I've heard it a few times before, definitely is still fun to hear. So let's get started again, I guess.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Ah, I was mistaken. Therefore they should be still here.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
For now? What does that mean? Did they come back? Where have my coworkers gone? Oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. Ooh, what's this? Okay, I can't see that. We continue moving forward to find our co-workers and other people in which we are acquainted to.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I think...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yep.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yes, we know how much I enjoy the employees lounge. Ah, yes, this is the room of my dream.
Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
Most definitely.
Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Most definitely. What a beautiful, beautiful room. I love it. Alright, let's head out.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright, this time, we're not going to go back on the right track. We're going to continue forward.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I wonder how that is. Do not jump. Alright, I will not jump.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Perhaps.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her? Who's her? Am I married? Do I have a wife? All these answers,
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Is she over here?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
What happens if I don't? What happens if it just keeps ringing? Oh, who will it be on the other line? Let's answer it.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Uh-oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on.
You got me.
Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Alright. I'll step inside your room of lies, although I don't like it.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ah! Press 8 on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow.
Hey.
He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Hey. Press 0. This doesn't take me good places, but... Oh, not 0. Oh.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Press 3.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
This is extremely depressing. Press K to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press B to spend time with the boys. Alright.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
It's an extremely sad life.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
This is all just an illusion in our mind. Press 7 to tell their kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press J to tell my wife I love her. I love you, honey. Goodbye.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Press T to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. We won't do it, but then there's no moving forward. So I get the feeling that we have to press the button. I'm sorry, narrator.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Question, nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh, Stanley, you don't mean to. It's just, that's your job. And we're back, I suppose. Oh, it's an extremely kind of depressing ending. Well, I mean, that's not the only ending. That's just the two endings that I've decided to follow for this one. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said, I enjoy this. I enjoy all the narration, and I enjoy the kind of the look of it. It's just really cool. It's not like a pretty game because it's it's office setting, which I mean I suppose offices can be pretty, but it's just a really cool game in general, and so I enjoy playing it. I'm enjoying playing it with you guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. In the comment section below, let me know if you would like to see me play Stanley Parable again. I enjoyed this, like I said, and I would definitely be willing to do it again and try some more endings. I know there's a lot more endings to get, and I would definitely like to go and try to see how many we can find. So in the comment section below, let me know if you guys would want me to do that. Hit subscribe to be informed when I upload new videos. And other than that, I guess I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, bye bye!